Welcome to Connections with Beth, where curiosity meets connection. I'm Beth Lees. I'm a lifelong spiritual explorer, a passionista, and a lover of deep, meaningful conversations. You know, those fun, intimate conversations that spark laughter, insight, and some holy shift moments. So let's get comfy, open your heart, and let's dive into some soulful conversation. Let me introduce, this is going to be an interesting show today for sure. I'm a little afraid, but I'm not afraid of diving into my fear.
All
Uh,
right.
Today's guest is someone who embodies what the show is all about, transformation with a healthy side dish of truth, shift, perspective, and yes, playfulness. Baton is basically a walking permission slip to be wildly yourself. Over the past 20 years and 20,000 sessions, yes, you heard that right, 20,000. He's been guiding people into holy shifts, uncovering their inner realms using everything from hypnosis and movement. But don't be fooled, his journey wasn't always Zen gardens and downward dogs. Once upon a time, Matan was a finance guy fantasizing about getting hit by a truck just to avoid another day at a soul-sucking job. Spoiler, he did not get hit by the truck, but he did get hit by life in a way that cracked him open in all the right ways. Matan has danced with trauma and transformation, and lucky for us, he brought his curiosity, his presence, and his perfectly quirky wisdom along for the ride. So let's get moving and join me in welcoming the fabulous, joyfully honest wonder that is Matan.
Thank you. What a lovely
Woohoo!
introduction.
You
It feels
like
like I
that?
did my thing for today. We can finish right here. I got what I
Nope, sorry.
wanted.
So talk to us, Matan. Tell us about your life's journey, how you got from there to here.
How I got from there to here, I don't know. It's a whole mystery. Like I think we always looking to connect the dots backward. There is that sentence, and I guess I'm not at the end, so it's very hard for me to make it. But if there is something, it's like I feel life is a mystery. To tell you that I know one or two things, maybe I know one or two things to make scrambled eggs or a little bit more in the kitchen. But when it comes to life itself, I'm a student like everyone else. And what helped for me is to, and I'm still afraid to do it, is but it's to jump, it's to take those leaps in life. I feel life always wants us to grow more than we want to. And it's just about taking those jumps, taking those leaps of, letting go of that limited version of us and jumping into who we truly are. And it is complicated because we have different aspects of ourselves. So it's not about shaming our fears or putting it on the side. It's about learning more how to operate from love and to operate from our heart and to move.
Ah, but that's tricky, isn't it?
Oh, so tricky, so tricky. It's a, we have defense mechanism as humans. So I can talk and be super comfortable about things that I'm comfortable with. But when it comes to things that I'm not comfortable with, I have all of these defense mechanisms that are preventing me from accomplishing, from doing those things that I really want to do with my life.
So, what's a limiting belief that you had about yourself and how did you uncover it?
Uh, there are many limiting beliefs that I have, like I'm not done, but that I'm not good enough, that I have to behave in a certain way, that business, for example, like I'm an entrepreneur, so that business I have to be serious in business, and that's the way to make it successful, that money going to solve all my problems.
I'm afraid
Man,
not, Matan.
what?
I'm afraid not.
Yeah. So yeah. So it's about there are a lot of beliefs on the way. So I unpack them as I go. So yes, I have periods that I invest more time in doing this work, and there are periods that it's just about living. But I'm not trying to be perfect. Like it's there isn't because especially with hypnotherapy, like people come to overcome trauma, anxiety, limiting beliefs, and all of that. There is a limit for how much we can do, then we need to integrate. And I think that it's also very important. We live in that age of everybody wants the professional term I heard is like vertical integration. Let's go and do some psychedelics or something like that, or, you know, any other substance or material or experience. However, that they're to have awakening, those awakenings are great, but we really have to integrate them in our life, and without it, it doesn't make any difference.
So how do you work with your clients?
How do I work? It depends who's the client. So I don't have I'm starting with a conversation with being curious. I'm listening to my clients. Like I don't have necessarily a menu. I have processes that I take people through sometimes, and I customize those processes. These days, 99% of my work is one-on-one. So I have the flexibility to do it. That I really enjoy having that flexibility. Like I think about people who invent programs or processes, and they keep following the same thing. It might be even a singer, like the guy that sing the "Cause I'm Happy." I would go personally crazy if I had to sing that song 1,000 times a year. So
It wouldn't make you happy.
it wouldn't make me happy at all. The opposite of happy. So. I like you to be curious about my work. I show up, and I have to show up. That's the bottom line.
Well, it's nice because you bring all the tools with you, right? You just have to show
Yes,
up, be
and
present.
yes, I bring all the tools with me, and the tools that I'm working with, because I'm a human being. Like I'm not. I think there is, especially in psychotherapy, like that perception that the therapist is above you or something like that, and I don't believe that. I think that people get their unconscious get uh, that mistrust right away. Like we're all human beings, we're struggling with things. So i I don't pretend that I'm perfect,
Right.
and I'm here to play, I'm here to explore, I'm here to be curious about certain things.
One of the things I love about you is you really listen to people's language.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Don't be too cautious next to me.
so tell me what you hear when people are talking to you. What stands out for you? What information does that give you?
the the I think it's a great place to start. Is like why are we opening our mouth? Like to ask that question. Like what do we want to what do we want to express with our words? So the language is very different. Like like most of our thoughts are the same. So we go with the same script over and over and over again. For me, as a practitioner, and also not as a practitioner because it's part of my life. I understand where there is a disconnect between the behavior that is wanted and the script that is basically it's an unconscious script that people say like, yeah, I love whatever eating healthy, and I just ate whatever fries at midnight last night. Like there is a disconnect, and that disconnect is a place that there is an opportunity for growth. Okay, because the work is not fixing. That's what our ego like to tell us. Like like I have a problem. I'm going to Matan, and Matan is going to fix me. That's not how it works.
Oh,
My work, is to help people, to guide them to have that realization that they took an idea that is not true about themselves, and then to let go of that idea and to replace that idea with something that serves. It's not about right and wrong. That's not what it's about. It's about, is it serving you or it's not serving you?
Is it moving you forward or not moving you forward?
And yes, and also it also depends on the values, okay, and which values and which where these values are coming from. Okay, like for example, men, for example, we overvalue physicality. Okay, so a lot of men, also women, but a lot of men, it's so hard for them to let go of their physicality. So they will, for example, exercise in a way that used to work for them when they were 20, but when they come to work with me, it's usually they're over 50 years old, and it's very hard for them to let go of that persona that have to be strong and to have a six pack and do whatever, BS, we call it belief system in hypnotherapy that they're holding. So a lot of time we live in a society that some of the values are our values, and some of the values that we get are our society's value. That I don't know, that it's good to be tall, it's good to be rich, it's good to be famous.
Well,
It's
and some of those are values that served us when we were younger, but might not serve us in our current life, right?
yes. So and there is a way to check it with ourselves, like if a certain value is aligned with who we are right now. It's a very simple question. And once we give it to our unconscious mind, it's easy to decide, to understand. A lot of time, like when we're examining a behavior, it's like, what are we getting from that behavior and what we're not getting from that behavior. Our unconscious is very smart. There is a reason for every behavior.
Well, and I love that Carl Jung quote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will
Yeah.
direct your life and you will call it fate.
Yes, and that's complicated to make the unconscious conscious because, as we say in yoga, it's like we're looking through that mirror and we're thinking that all of these things that are on the mirror are real. We don't understand that we put them, we're the one who put them there, and we're the one who are keep putting them and keep insisting on having them there. And I think that's why having now we live in a world that it's very hard to be authentic. Like people want, even for me, like there's so many people who want something from me. My wife wants me to behave in a certain way. My family, my kids, my clients want me to, but it's not really who I am.
Right.
So the I'm thinking a lot for myself these days. Like, how do I put myself in a situation, in an environment that I can truly be myself, that I don't have to show up. Like, for you, I have no problem showing up. Like, like we both, I guess, allergic to small talk that is meaningless, like sports, weather, like no way we can
Ugh.
get there because and I don't, can I do this? Yeah, I can do it, if necessary. I don't really know what's happening in the world of sport, but it's possible to do it. But the reason that I'm staying away from it is that the more I will do it, the more I will go further away from myself, and the more
Right.
it will lead me to anxiety, depression, and unfulfilled life.
So what fulfills you?
What fulfills me?
Mhm.
Um, People, intimacy, conversations, connection, nature, uh, movement. I love to move. Like I, it depends on my schedule, but I would honestly move for 2 hours a day, every day, whatever it is, qigong, sometimes yoga, climbing, going paddling, going hiking. I love connecting with my body in that way.
What does that give you?
It gives me peace. Like I feel that. the world wants to take my attention outside of me all the time. It's like we live in that in competition about attention. That's what technology, that's what social media is about. Like, how can we take your attention and put it on something that create
External.
fear, that eventually external, that create fear that eventually you will buy something, but we're constantly losing our connection with ourselves. So for me, what I get from it is connection to myself. It's truth, and it's basically put me in that alignment with who I am and with my values and what's important for me. And then I operate from there, because I think there are many models for happiness in general. I'm not going directly into happiness. I don't find that works. I think like going to try to be happy is like trying to catch the horizon or staring straight in the sun. You're going to get burned by it, or you're never going to get there. But I do believe that when our life, uh, my when my life is in line with my value, I'm happy.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank
I
you.
also love, there was we had a conversation once about structure
Yeah.
and needing structure in order to have freedom.
Yes.
You want to share some about that?
And yeah, I think where the way we think about freedom at a very young age is sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby, let's do it. Wake up, do mimosas, do whatever it is. And it might feel great for do it for 1 day or for 2 days or for 3 days,
Or maybe, yeah, maybe a long weekend.
maybe a long weekend, but it depends on the person. But I tried it for many years of my life, and unfortunately, it did not work, that experience. You can say fortunately or unfortunately, but it did not work. So we don't have so much brain power. So much of our behavior is habitual, and I think the older we get, the harder it is for us to change, to behave in a different way. So I think having a structure saves so much energy, because if I know that I'm sitting with you right now, it's 10 a.m., I already did a movement practice, I already meditated, I already connected with my wife, connected with my kids this morning. It's like, if I had to think about all of those things, I ate a healthy breakfast. It's like, if I had to put all of this, I would have been exhausting sitting here with you. So, so freedom um, is not doing all of these living on the edge thing.
All the
The,
time.
all the time. It's great and I structure it in my day, in my life. Like, not every moment of my day is structured. I have a lot of moments that I don't want to be structured. So yeah, and I find it really, I think it really vary culturally. I think here in the US, it's very hard for people to have a structure and discipline. It's
Internal structure and discipline.
yes.
Because I think that a lot of people feel like their lives are structured and disciplined externally.
Yes, and that's that can be also a problem, that we live in a that our every day looks the same.
Right.
Like, and I suffer from that as well. So I know how to, out of the pain, I learned that I have to schedule things outside, like going to a workshop or going to 2 days by myself, or doing things that are out of wake up, parent, have some time for me, work, go back to parent, go back to sleep. It's very hard. We need a change.
We need change to change.
And we need change to change. And we also, yeah, I think as humans, there is a side that wants things to be the same, because it makes us feel safe. It makes us
Well,
feel
that's right. It creates stability. It creates the illusion of stability and
exactly.
security.
You hit it on the nail with the word illusion. But reality is something that is reality is something that is very dynamic. And most of our suffering is comes from we want to be the same in a moving world.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first noble truth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
What's the biggest myth that people have about themselves?
about themselves that they are themselves, that I am the way I am, that I cannot change.
That change is not possible?
Um, yes, that change is not possible. Like we all have PhDs in explaining to others why I am the way I am, and we take it for granted. And we get a lot from it, by the way. Every behavior has a motivation. I mentioned that before. Okay. And what we get is that we don't have to do anything about it, you know, because we are, operating from the same
Same story.
operating, same story. Now, if I'm going to, I don't know, something that sits on my mind for a few months that I don't know if it's the right moment yet, but let's say if I want to write a book, I can tell all of these stories that it's not the right time to write a book. But if I said, that's not true, I have something to say with that book, and I have to start writing this book. What does it mean? I have to change my behavior. I have to sit and
You have to
to
sit down and
work.
put the pen to the paper.
Yeah, I have to put whatever, an hour, 2 hours a day to work on that project. I have to I have to first to meet all of these fears, then to overcome them. So the easiest choice is stay
I don't
exactly
know.
where I am.
It's not the right time.
And yeah, exactly.
I don't have the time. It's not the right time. I find that the two biggest excuses that people have for things in their life are not having enough time and not having enough money.
Yeah. There is that sentence that I really like. Right now, you have many problems. When you have a health issue, you have one problem.
Nice.
Sure.
It is true. So, what's one spiritual cliche that totally annoys the crap out of you, Matan?
Uh, I don't like all of this vertical integration. Uh, but the biggest cliche is like spiritual people. When other people have problems, they have problems. They have struggling that they have to grow through. But when spiritual people have problems, it's like I'm going through enlightenment right now. So it's really hard for me. And I hear it all the time. Like, yeah. And I'm like, no, you're a fucking human being. Like you're struggling right now. It's part of being a human being. Call it enlightenment, call it grief, call it whatever. You're not better than others.
Well, and the struggle is what propels us to transformation, right? That's part of the growth cycle.
Yes. And it's never easy to face it because it's not just mentally, it's unconscious, it's emotional, it's in our body. We're really believing to that story that we cannot change when 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 we feel struggle. And that's why we have that thing that it's called practice.
Practice, yes.
Practice is one of my favorite words and it's one of my favorite concepts. And I cannot define that word, what it means. Like in yoga, it says like a practice is an effort to bring the mind into more stillness. And, and I think having a practice for me, it's a life changer.
Well, isn't a practice a structure, a
Uh,
discipline?
Yes, absolutely. It's a discipline, and I need that discipline. For many times in my life, I thought like, wow, I did so well. I don't need that practice anymore. I don't need to sit and to meditate. Like my mind is really in the right place. But it's funny. I had a session before, and I came a little bit more stressed to that session, and I told the client, like, if I did not have a practice, I would have been a serial killer or something like that. So I feel for myself like the having a practice, and and I think it's very different how people look at practice here. For me, um, I got it. I knew that I'm going to practice yoga when I was 20 or 21. I knew that I'm going to give it a chance. And I started traveling around the world, and I started taking yoga classes in different directions, different places, different styles, different teachers. And 2 years into it, I met my first teacher. And do I practice what he teaches me right these days, 24 years later? Not really. Okay. But it's still, I have a practice, and the definition of what he gave me now that I look back. First, he gave me that it's a discipline. Like you do your practice. It's not like Fairfield County that they send you Groupon and stuff for your birthday. Come and take a yoga class. It's not, I don't look at it as this way. And also when I work with people, I don't do all of these reminders, and I don't, it's like you have a practice, be grateful for your practice. It's your practice. It's not like there is a teacher who is like your marketer and your promoter and your cheerleader. That's not how I see this work. Like I'm helping people who want help. It's not. I'm not pushing people
Right.
to do something that they want to do. And that practice is pretty much is a toolbox. So what my teacher gave me 24 years ago was a set of tools in a context that worked for me where I was 24 years ago. I don't practice the same way right now.
No,
So
because you've evolved.
exactly. So, my practice used to be from doing different styles of yoga to qigong to chanting to journaling to meditating to walking in nature to having conscious conversations. It's basically to have a tool that helps me to transform where I am in different situations where I'm struggling, whatever I'm struggling, if it's something that I'm struggling with eternal, or I'm start struggling with others people's emotion or with the state of the world or whatever. And I wish we could have teach that in school, because uh, I think that the overall state is that we have functioning adults here who don't know how to take care of themselves.
I love this idea of practice in terms of everybody finding their a practice that works for them where they are right now, and then just having that framework, the scaffolding for them for that to move them from one place to another as they grow older and evolve and change. Um, it's like having lots of tools, but practicing, not feeling like you've gotten to another level and then you got to get to another level.
No,
Like you're always in the practice of your
yes,
life.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, how do people work with you?
But these days, mainly it's around movement. And what I do different things. I've done different things over the years, from working with the athletes to uh, most of my work these days is around movement therapy and movement longevity. So that's what I do with movement. And instead of coming to my studio and becoming a client, I don't really do like to do that anymore. I'm more teaching people the tools to take care of themselves. So
Like through a program?
yeah, program, practice, framework, their life, pretty much. So it's a very balanced approach to life, because we're different every day. It's not that we can lift weights every day. We have to do many different things. So that's my movement mentorship to work with me.
And you do hypnosis with that also?
No, that's separate. Sometimes I combine the two with a person. A lot of time, people who do hypnotherapy with me, they understand that they need discipline and that they need structure, and they need to solve that issue of movement in their life. So for me, with movement, I'm here to answer how you're going to get on and off the ground in your 80s and 90s, how you're going to play with your grandkids. I have like a very balanced approach for life. It's not about lift as much as you can. It's about joint health and things like that that you don't get in. I don't know where you get that. Maybe if you go swimming a little bit, but I think that most of the movement, the gym, the yoga, don't really add, they don't they put to one spin their spin on it, but it's not a balanced approach for life. I have nothing against it other than it's basically taking the same vitamin over and over and over again, like eating broccoli. Broccoli is great for you, but you need to eat a little bit more than broccoli in life. Um, and with hypnotherapy, um, I also I work with hypnotherapy clients, so it's overcoming trauma, limiting beliefs, and anxiety. And so there is a range. There is a range that it's letting go of things that are not serving you, trauma, stuff like that. And then the same tools, because a lot of my work is conversational. I'm not a script reader. Uh, it's to use all of it to really to create the life that they want. Because there is one thing, it's like, all right, I don't want to feel anxiety. I don't want to feel unfulfilled life. All right, so you don't want to feel unfulfilled life. What do you want to do with your life? I want to have good relationship with my kids and I want to enjoy my business, not to be stressed on my business. So it's kind of people say to themselves like, I don't want to feel anxious, but what they really want is to stop focusing on that thing and to start focusing on climbing that mountain that called their life. And you can call, and that's a combination of coaching and hypnotherapy that is basically helping people doing that work, that how to integrate, when nothing is holding them back, they still have to integrate it into their life. And we all have to do it as human beings who have relationships in the world, as entrepreneurs who have businesses. We have to we have to bring all of that great visions that we have. We need to bring them into life, and it's not so sexy.
Well, sometimes we don't even have the vision. We know, like you were saying, we know what we don't want, but then we're so fixated on that we're not focusing on what it is that we really want and how to get to that place. We need
And
a
yeah,
little
and
roadmap.
that's where taking leaps come. Like I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday. So people have a vision. So they stand where they are and they know where to want to get. Okay. That's step 10. Let's call it that step 10.
Right.
So they know that step 10 is I have whatever, my vacation home and I don't have to work for money. I have financial freedom. Okay. Now, I don't know what is step 1, 2, 3, 4 until 9. And you have to, it's like you have to start taking those steps and with curiosity to give yourself permission to experiment with that, like not to be fixated, like this is the only way it can go. And we live in a world that there are endless programs.
Possibilities.
You
Yeah.
can go to school, become an accountant, do the numbers. You will have, the job, the thing, but it will not give you fulfillment. And I think it's more about learning how you walk yourself through life, with yourself through life. You're not just throwing yourself into situations and without analyzing, without planning. And there is a lot of and we're missing that. I feel like for me as an entrepreneur, it's something that is missing to be in an environment that is encouraging experimentation, curiosity,
I think
playfulness.
curiosity is a great word, and I think it's something that people lose that sense of curiosity that you have when you're a child and you're curious about everything. You're curious about, you just have a holy curiosity, a sense of wonder about things. And I think we've lost a lot of that. We're like, oh, I've got to be on this path. Well, no, you don't.
Yes. Yeah, we are again, we are saying to ourselves those things because I think we're really, talking about values and hypnotherapy. We get hypnotized. We get, like think about it. I was chatting 3 days ago with kids that are 18, and I see how their parents, yeah, he knows what he's going to do, and he's going to college, and he's going to become a physical therapist, and there is a great demand to become a physical therapist because there is a growing aging population. So this is a form of hypnosis that we all are exposed to. That we get so much uh, positive feedback for
Yeah,
knowing what we want. Now, go in the world and try to, that can be a party trick. Start a conversation with people and say, hey, Beth, please tell me, in what area of your life you feel like a complete beginner right now? All right. I love those screeners. Okay. Like I use a lot of screeners in my life. Okay. To screen who I want to hang out and who I don't want to hang out with. And this is a great screener to see who lives in a growth mindset or who doesn't live in a growth mindset.
I love that.
Because I don't want to be in a person, hey, I know everything
I
about
know
life.
it all.
I
I've got
got
it all figured
everything.
out.
Yeah, it's all good.
That makes for a pretty boring person.
Absolutely.
Having a holy curiosity is a much better place to live.
Yeah.
I realized that I waited for 2 years to start this podcast because I wanted to be an expert out of the gate.
Yeah. And again, you have to screw it up.
Yeah, you have to screw
Yeah.
it up.
Like, what is a good podcast?
Exactly.
Like,
I don't even know what a good podcast is.
yeah, like how do you measure it? A lot of listeners, it's like, who knows though?
Who
It's just
knows?
our own perception, what we bring in, and what helped me a lot because I think as human being we have the mind, and one of the biggest challenges that every school of thought, every non-dualistic philosophy has to address it, how we aren't doing that thing called our mind. How we understand that all of these things that are in front of us is like we place it, we are keep placing it, we keep giving value to all of this,
Yeah.
and it's not a simple thing to do, and that's why we have to keep remind ourselves. One of the names for meditation in Pali is remembering our nature. So it's coming back and coming back and coming back.
I love that word, remember.
Yeah.
Putting it back together. Oh, thank you, Matan. I love chatting with you.
Me too. Thank you.
Woohoo! How can people find you?
At my website, Matan's Movement, Matans movement.com. Instagram, same thing, matans.movement. They can find me if they want, if they really want.
If they really want to find you,
Yeah,
Matan, they can find you. Thank you so much.
thank you.
I enjoy you.
Me too. Absolutely. An honor.
Okay, stay tuned for our next episode. Oh, that's not what I want to do right there. Hold on. That's this always messes me up. I always leave with